Once upon a time, there lived a beautiful girl. Her name is Debbie. Debbie is a beautiful, intelligent young girl and also the only daughter of her parents, Mrs. Adeline and Mr. Danny. She was born differently from other children of her age. The day Debbie was born, she came out of her mother's womb with no hair on her head. Ever since childhood, she suffered from leukemia at a young age that changed the taste of her body. Her parents took care of her so much as to make her always comfortable. With some treatment, she got better, but she never grew hair on her head. Her parents enrolled her in school, but her first day in school was a disaster as they bullied her so much. Debbie went home and refused to go to school anymore. Instead, her parents homeschooled her. They paid for tutors to come teach her from home. Debbie is a very intelligent girl who grabs things quickly. She was a different kind of person. Even her beauty, with no hair and her blue eyes, made her almost a superior being of a kind ever born. When she got to the age of 13, her parents wanted to give it a try and send her to high school, but she refused because they would bully her again just like how they did when she was little. Debbie, because of that, became afraid of the world seeing who she really is, a girl with no hair on her head and who cannot have hair for the rest of her life due to what she suffers from. After some persuasion and a lot of talking, Debbie reluctantly agreed to go to high school, but on the condition that she wore a wig to cover her shaved head. On her first day, as she came into the school, she felt detached, fearing that they would bully her. But after hearing the words of her father and his encouragement, she decided not to be a disappointment to them, but instead to make them proud. Debbie saw a lot of girls in the school. They even looked at her in a weird way because they noticed that she was wearing a wig and not her natural hair, as they wondered how ugly she would look if she removed the wig from her head. Debbie picked up her courage to ignore whatever they said about her and focused on her studies. Debbie was one of the brightest students in her place as she aced her results. Debbie is a cheerful person who wants to be around people, but out of fear, she decided to be alone by herself. Naya is one of the most popular girls in school. She is beautifully good-looking, a bully, and rude with no manners. She has 2 friends who follow her around wherever she goes. She is full of pride as she can get any person to do her bidding or any man she wants. Nia comes from a rich family that is traumatized, with her parents always having problems here and there. Instead, she turned her aggression to anyone she saw in school, and Debbie became her favorite target. She hated her so much because she thought Debbie had everything working out for her, a good home, good parents who dropped her off at school and took care of her. Nia always picked on her. One day, as Debbie came to school and sat down on her chair, Nia approached her. "Hey, weirdo, what is this mess you are putting on your head? Don't tell me you think all of us in this classroom won't recognize that this is a wig. Come on, what are you hiding in there? Maybe you have rabbit hair beneath there," Nia said, and the students in the class burst into laughter. Debbie was a little bit ashamed of herself as she tried to put herself together and ignored Nia. "Well, I believe she is a coward who doesn't know her place in the world. Loser," Nia shouted at her. Debbie couldn't hold her silence anymore, as it was not okay for her. "Please, Nia, enough? Can you leave me alone with my wig? And I am not a coward, and I am not removing my wig," Debbie said as she made a statement at Nia. Nia never listened. She kept tormenting the life of Debbie all the time, bullying her and even pushing her along the school hallway. Debbie was ashamed and disappointed in herself. One morning, Debbie decided not to go to school because it was too much for her to bear. "Hey, my daughter, don't be discouraged nor lose hope. We knew obstacles would come, but it all depends on how you control the situation. Be patient," her mother said as she encouraged her. "Mom, it's not as easy as you think. I always get bullied by this girl consistently in school, and it gets on my nerves. It makes me tired because I don't have the strength to fight her back. Not everybody sees me as a person, but instead a weirdo. Since I started that school, I have never made even one single friend," Debbie said as she was very sad. "I know and I understand, so don't worry. Everything is going to be all right, and please make sure to go to school tomorrow because your teacher called me, and I had to tell her you were homesick, that you will be in school tomorrow," her mother said. Debbie held on to her mother's words. The next day, she went to school as usual. She went to her classroom and sat all by herself. The next minute, Nia walked in, dressed in an intimidating way that caused people to look at her. She came to where Debbie sat. "Huh, isn't it the weirdo again? I thought you had already dropped out, and that's quite unfortunate actually, because I would miss your ugly wig and how funny you look in it," Nia said as she laughed at Debbie. Debbie was upset at what Nia said, but she didn't want to let her anger get the best of her. "What is your problem, Nia?" she asked with a calm expression. "You are my problem, Debbie. You think you are better than me, dressed like a clown with no batch number, and you think you can impress anyone here in school, that you are smart and intelligent. Well, guess what? Your plans will not work," Nia angrily said as she went back to her seat. The students were shocked, watching how the event unfolded. Debbie realized that Nia was a kind of traumatized person who maybe never had a family that cared to ask her how she was doing. Debbie saw the sadness in her eyes, which was why she didn't retaliate after the insult she got from her. Instead, she wanted to understand Nia and what was wrong with her. One day, as Debbie sat at the school library reading her book, a girl approached. "Hey, Debbie, how are you doing?" she asked as she looked at Debbie. "I am fine, and thank you for asking," Debbie replied as she curiously looked at the girl. "Well, I am Allegra by name. I just moved to this school last week, and I thought I should make friends. Hope we are good?" Allegra said. Debbie saw it as an opportunity to at least make a friend for once in the school. As days went by, Debbie and Allegra became best of friends and did things together. Even despite the constant embarrassment and bullying from Nia and her friends, Debbie still hoped that Nia would eventually change one day. One day, near the school fountain, Allegra and Debbie sat as they had a conversation. Allegra brought up another topic. "Hey, Debbie, why do you not feel overexhausted from the constant bullying from Nia? You don't even talk about it, nor even try to make her see that you are not an animal to be tossed around," Allegra said as she felt a wave of concern toward Debbie. "I know, but I feel like Nia isn't such a bad person. She is just projecting her personal problems onto people," Debbie said with a concerned expression. "Hello, girl. News flash. She's been like this for so long, and I don't think this could be an issue for her," Allegra thought. "I know when someone projects their feelings onto something else, even though they are not actually solving anything, but instead causing more harm than good. And that's why I know Nia is a good person. She just needs to believe that she can change. And this is one of the things my mom taught me," Debbie said. Allegra saw it as a bad idea for Debbie to be an experiment to change someone who doesn't want to be changed, but she decided to keep it to herself. One day, Nia sat alone by herself outside the school premises on a bench near the fountain. Debbie came and sat there with her. "And who said you are allowed to sit with me on this bench, weirdo like you?" Nia said with an angry look on her face. "Well, that's not nice, but I just came to ask you, Nia, what is really wrong with you? You bully me, and you say all sorts of things to me, no matter how insensitive they are, but I know you are going through a lot, either personal issues or family issues. But no matter what, I still believe you can change," Debbie said as she tried to give Nia hope. "That's the thing, Debbie. I don't need your help. You should actually help yourself and be gone forever, girl," Nia said angrily as she left her on the bench and zoomed off. Allegra, who was watching from a distance, came and sat with Debbie. "How is your operation of getting Nia's humanity back working out for you? I am sure you made quite some progress," Allegra said with a funny expression. "Not funny, Allegra, but I will keep trying, and that's it," Debbie said with the hope that she could do it. One day in class, their teacher, Mrs. Florence, decided to merge Nia, Debbie, and two other girls together for a role play. Nia was really angry to even do anything together with Debbie, as she saw her as her rival and wanted out of the group, but Mrs. Florence refused. Because of that, Debbie was made the main character in the role play, which Nia thought she would be given, but that made her anger intensify. During the practice, she felt like she couldn't bear working with Debbie. "You stole my life, my main role in this play, and you feel like bossing me around," Nia angrily said. "Look, Nia, I am not trying to take your role from you, and please, let's just work together on this," Debbie encouraged her in spite of her hurtful words. But Nia kept holding on to her anger. The next day, Debbie didn't make it to school, and not even the next 2 days. Mrs. Florence had no other choice but to give the main role to Nia, since Debbie wouldn't be joining them anytime soon. Nia was so happy that Debbie was gone. After a week, Nia started to grow a conscience as to where Debbie might have been for the past 1 week. She approached Allegra, who was sitting in the library. "Hope you don't mind me asking where Debbie has been for the last couple of days now?" Nia asked. "And now you are concerned about her? Well, if you must know, Debbie is a leukemia patient. Her leukemia disease worsened last week after the first practice. It got worse, and they had to take her to the hospital for chemotherapy. And I remember you calling her a weirdo that wears a wig, not knowing she has been sick all her life, and that did not stop her. Every time she wants all the time that everything you do to her is not your fault. She would try and find a way to change you and all that, and that's how much she believed in you. This is the type of person she is, and you won't care about that, will you, Nia, since you are busy bullying her around?" Allegra angrily said as she blamed Nia for everything in tears. Nia was hurt, and she realized that she had treated Debbie with so much hate and anger, not knowing she was in pain all her life. She thought that Debbie had it all, but she never knew she had a huge secret. On the day of the role play, they all performed well. After that, Nia and their team from the role play that Debbie picked out before she fell sick decided to visit Debbie at the hospital. Debbie was happy to have seen them, and Nia too.
"I am truly sorry for the way I have treated you, and you were right. I thought you had it all, the love of your parents and the care they have shown you. So while looking at you, I became angry, and that's why I picked on you to make you lose focus of who you are. And now I understand, and I am sorry for everything,"
Nia said as she apologized for everything. Debbie forgave her, and they all reconciled. 2 weeks later, after Debbie's last chemotherapy, she was released from the hospital. Debbie went back to school, but this time she didn't wear the wig anymore. As she entered the school, people saw her true beauty from her shaved head. They admired her, and beside her were Nia and Allegra as they walked in with her. People were surprised, but Debbie, in the remaining time of her life, changed lives. Even after graduation, Nia, Allegra, and Debbie still remained best of friends. Nia surrounded herself with a caring circle of friends irrespective of her past. Debbie saw a scared good girl inside of her. Nia changed, and all was because of a sick, dying girl who gave her hope to be a good person. Dear viewers, what do you think about this story? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and share it with friends. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest updates. Thanks, and see you in the next video. Bye!